a big national effort now as far as building up infrastructure, the national monetization pipeline, 6 lakh crores in the pipeline to be implemented within 4 years. First up, that seems very difficult to achieve. Have you identified these projects? Have you identified partners? Do you seriously think in 4 years you would be able to generate these funds?
Thank you very much, Vishnu, and a very good evening to all the viewers. Along with the National Infrastructure Pipeline, which was developed in December of 2019, where the assets were identified for infrastructure investments, this is a very important initiative that combines with the capital expenditure push that was done in this year's budget. And NITI Aayog has actually done some excellent work in identifying the assets that will be put up for asset monetization. At the same time, also thinking about the models that would be employed for doing the asset monetization. This has to be seen, Vishnu, in the broad context of the government trying to actually enhance productivity in the economy, both through privatization and asset monetization.
In 4 years. That was my question. In 4 years, 6 lakh crores, you'll be able to achieve that or come close?
So I think that the targets actually are because they've already been identified, the projects have been identified, much like the National Infrastructure Pipeline. This is not something where the homework has not been done. The homework has been done by the NITI Aayog, and for this year, for instance, the target is about 1.6 lakh crore. Now it's possible, and we'll have to wait and watch on this year's target. But I'm actually far more confident that the 4-year target of 6 lakh crore would be achieved because the ministries also have expressed actually their willingness to come on board on this, which actually oftentimes is a very important aspect.
Okay. Now a key part of this is that the government isn't giving away this property. You are putting it on you've got a model which is a lease model, a PPP model. Correct me if I'm wrong, but. Is that something which could prove to be a problem, because a company looking to take over an asset might find long-term value if they procure the asset? They would perhaps argue that the value goes down if they have to give it back to the government. So on a project by project basis, would there be some hard convincing that the government would need to do to a prospective partner?
See, Vishnu, if you look at the models that are used typically for assets, firms both own some assets and lease other assets, and both these models are very commonly employed by private sector firms. And the asset monetization together with the privatization program is basically the effort to try and provide both options to the private sector. The privatization is basically where the private sector can own those assets, and the asset monetization is one where they can lease those assets. And because both of these are very common, models that are employed by the private problem, I think in the Indian context, this is something that actually we're using for the first time, and therefore, your questions may be legitimate, but I think this is something that has been used the world over, the asset monetization. There are other countries like Australia, Canada, etc., who are also talking about asset monetization during this period, in the COVID period. So India is not the only country that is doing this. It's actually it's a tried and tested method. And so, I think we will definitely be able to accomplish the targets that we've set for ourselves.
I find it really interesting that 1.6 lakh crores is what has been pegged to just the road sector alone. Now this, and I'm sure you'll accept, that has been a historic problem in India. We do not build roads historically in the pace that we want to. If we compare ourselves with China, we know how far ahead they are in that. So 4 years from now, if these projects actually take place, will we, expand road coverage? Will this mean that transportation, people moving from parts of our country on world-class highways, can just be a reality, can be not just a dream? I mean, we drive from Delhi to Meerut now and we see, my God, this is possible. Will it be possible in other parts of the country as well?
In fact, you yourself answered that question, Vishnu, by talking about the Delhi Meerut highway. What was not thought possible, 6-7 years back has actually been shown to be possible by this government. Look at the pace at which road construction has happened over the last 6-7 years. And I think that is actually testimony to the ability to execute these ambitious plans. Do keep in mind actually that for the ministry now, the asset monetization actually also provides an additional incentive to be able to actually complete these projects on time. And therefore, and also the identification of these assets has been done in a way that, we're sort of plucking the low-hanging fruits, because if you look at the overall assets that are there, actually this is still a very small proportion of the overall assets that can be leased. And therefore, it's just the low-hanging fruits that have been plucked. So I think that this should be something that should definitely be possible.
1.5 lakh crores from the railway sector. The railway sector, many would say, and the assets that we have is essentially the family silver. So many governments in the past have said they don't want to mess with that. There were proposals, for example, to get into catering involving other players, other companies. That never took place. IRCTC is one of the few organizations, and that's also part of the government. In a sense, it's part of the railway network. And now you're saying that there'd be not necessarily foreign, there'd be private companies in the Indian Railways. What would they do?
Vishnu, this is, in my opinion, unfortunate language that has come in, family silver, which does not really fit the description of these assets. Firstly, the private sector will and should object to the fact that they're not seen part of the family. When you think about the economic family of the country, the private sector is as important a sibling in that family as the public sector. So that's the first word which I think does not fit. And as for whether these are silver, if you look at the way in which actually these assets, the productivity has been come, I think they're nowhere close to silver. So neither the family word nor the silver word actually fits the evidence, the data. I mean, it's a different matter to actually put rhetoric like that, a family silver, etc. But when you look from an economist perspective, I think the word family silver just does not fit the description of these assets. So I think by putting it into hands that are far more productive, and actually seeing the private sector as a family, which the Honorable Prime Minister has now said in the fourth floor of Parliament, I think that is where we're really making it family silver. Today, actually, then I don't think that either the family or the silver word fits it.
Okay. Just going down that list, 11,500 crores from stadia in the country. That's interesting, right? I mean, we see, for example, the BCCI being incredibly successful financially in running cricket stadia across the country. So now the government would be willing to partner with a private player, and stadiums, I believe, like Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium over here in Delhi, they'd go to a private player. How would you generate 11,500 crores from that?
Vishnu, what you have to remember here is these are assets that are being leased, right? And therefore, the lease contract can be worked out in such a way that it does not have to mean using that particular stadium for all 365 days of the year.
Right.
The fact that remains is for these stadia, they typically get used for a certain number of days, maybe 50, 60 days of the year. And once you've planned that calendar, what you can do is you can lease out that asset, during times when actually the stadium does not get used. And that is what really enables, the productive, the assets to be productive in the economy. And that is the flexibility that you have. And I think this is something that is very good, because now, given the performance that we've all been very proud of in the Olympics, I think, bringing streams of revenue into other sports through mechanisms like leasing the stadia is actually a very good avenue to empower and enable these sports as well to bring laurels for the country.
And a final question to you, the power sector, right? 79,000 crores from the power sector. So again, to what end? We already have companies. For example, in Delhi, we've got BSES, Rajdhani, then there are other BSESs and things like that. That's helped to a large extent. But what exactly are you trying to do in privatizing aspects of the power sector?
It's not privatizing. I
right,
think
the PPP model, right? What exactly do you intend to do? Yeah, not privatize.
This is part of a larger scheme for bringing efficiencies in the power sector. As we all know, DISCOMs actually, because of various practices that, cannot be sustained, have been bleeding. And I think, they need to be reformed if the quality of electricity and power that, both our households and corporates get has to
cut down
actually
on
be,
transmission
of
and
high
distribution
quality.
losses, right? Make it a more efficient,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
system, right? Less
Yes,
corrupt, more
we-
efficient.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to understand. So the end beneficiary would be a consumer like you and me, a more reliable power network, a more reliable power grid.
Yes, as it is with not just this reform, with every other reform, that this government has done over the last year and a half. Every reform is eventually about making the citizens' life better, about actually, the ease of living, and it is no different with the power sector either. Because if you have DISCOMs that are bleeding, it is the consumer that ends up paying, through unreliable power, unreliable electricity. So I think this is part of that larger scheme of really enabling ease of living for our citizens.
All right. Well, this is all very exciting. Let's hope it actually does generate the funds that it is meant to, because India needs this for infrastructure development, capital development, capital funds are required at this stage. I'd like to thank you, Dr. Subramanian, for being with us. Let's see how this plan goes.